Imagine this. Anderson, Ederson, Chouamani, Tonali, Stiller, Matheus Fernandes, and Baleba. These aren't random players. These are transfer targets that Manchester United could go for, and that's just the midfield alone. I've already talked about Elliot Anderson in one of my other videos, but today I want to talk about the other four. First, the dream targets that they should be going for, Tonali and Chouamani. Both are available, and both are probably needed at Manchester United, but they will only buy one. Say they miss out on Elliot Anderson, and he goes to Man City, either Chouamani or Tonali is a must. There have been reports that Tonali is ready to leave Newcastle, so all United would need to do is negotiate with Newcastle. It looks like the asking price is anywhere from 90 to 100 million. For any other top club like City, Arsenal, or Madrid, that would be a bargain. For Manchester United nowadays, that is just too expensive. Imagine a midfield of Tonali, Mainoo, and Bruno. That would make fans excited. It seems, though, now that the owners see this as a business first, football second, which of course leads to us not spending enough money on replacements or players needed. He also knows what it's like to play in the Champions League against teams like Barca, and he can handle the Prem. He isn't a fully experienced player like Casemiro, but is experienced enough where he can help out Kabi. He's more of a defensive midfielder, which can give the freedom to Kabi to go forward, even though Kabi also needs to also defend, but he could also operate as an 8, so both Kabi and Tonali give options forward. It would just mean both of them would have to be running up and down, which in the Premier League, the fastest league in the world, they would have to be fit enough. And also playing Champions League. That is why at least 3 midfielders are needed. Completely stupid. Secured Champions League, which gives you 100 million, and with players leaving, that gives us more money, so Tonali is completely affordable. The second option, Chouamani, is a lot cheaper, around 60 to 70 million. A quality player, only 26 years old, and can also play center back. A player that can play multiple positions is much needed at this club. With limited spending the owners have set, Chouamani could be a great pickup. Only problem I could see with this signing would be that he has gotten into a couple of fights at training, noticeable against Valverde, which may actually lead to one of either Valverde or Chouamani having to leave Madrid. But I doubt that Valverde leaving Madrid will happen. In fact, I doubt either of them will leave, but I think Chouamani is more likely if I had to choose between the two. And with Mourinho coming back, all of the fighting will stop in that locker room, probably, maybe, definitely not. But that's for the future of Real Madrid, not Manchester United. Chouamani can gladly come to this club though, and he can start knocking out players like Dalot and Shaw if he wants. I am okay with that. In all seriousness, this probably won't happen, but it would be sweet if it did. Now for the other 3. Stiller probably won't happen due to Stuttgart qualifying for the Champions League, and Stuttgart will probably keep him for another year and his value improves, but he is available for around 50 million euros, I'm pretty sure. So if United wants him, but it doesn't seem likely, then it seems a pretty simple deal, because I haven't seen any other clubs interested in him yet. Anderson looks like a done deal already, which is a good thing, I guess, signing players before the window has even opened yet. But then again, if you sign the cheaper players first, you're relying a lot on other clubs not signing the bigger players, like an Anderson or Tonali, who could have already moved to a City or Arsenal. Matheus Fernandes is also an excellent player that United could bring in this transfer window. Only 24 years old, plays for West Ham, and has been one of their only bright lights this season. He's no Tonali or Anderson, but he's a solid player, and can fight for that midfield position with Mainoo or Ederson. I do think Mainoo needs to fight for his position. While he has had some solid games since Carrick came in, he still has some bad moments, and that's fine. Again, he's not the finished book, but if he's in poor form, he needs to be benched. Fernandes now finally, Carlos Baleba. In the 24/25 season, he started 31 times, 34 appearances, 2,660 minutes, 3 goals and 1 assist. He seemed like a gem, and everyone was raving about him at the start of the season. This season, though, he hasn't been anywhere near the level he was before. He has only played half of those minutes, only 23 starts, 30 appearances in all competitions, and 0 goal contributions. Maybe because he got linked to United before the season started, and that's where his mind was the whole time. Who knows, but all I know is that for United it would be extremely high risk. Carrick has been announced as head coach for the next 2 years. Head coach, not manager. There's already a risk knowing this board. A manager instead of a head coach is already a bad sign, in my opinion, purely because some of the only good things the board have done is getting players like Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, Antony, Onana, etc., and that was Almorim anyway. Anyway, signing Baleba would be a very massive risk. When you are signing players that are coming off a bad season or an off season, where they just had an outbreak season, it's just a massive risk, and with another young midfielder next to him like Mainu, who is a talent and an exceptional player, but also isn't the finished article, instead of an experienced midfielder next to him could really hurt his chances. Yes, Carrick played in the midfield, so that could help him out a bit, but we saw how much having a very experienced player like Casemiro out there beside him. But again, it's a lot of risk, which is fine if you already have an Anderson and Fernandes, or Tonali and Ederson, but he cannot be the big midfield target. The dream Tonali, Anderson, and Ederson. In heaven, 2 world-class players that will be fighting for positions, and even if one got injured, you would still have another world-class midfielder alongside either Mainu or Ederson. What's realistic is that I think we get one of either Anderson, Tonali, or Tchouaméni, preferably Tonali or Anderson, just because I think they're better players. The only problem would be the price, which is stupid because, as I've said in my other video, losing out on another world-class player just because he's the price he deserves is just idiotic.
Can I ask you guys something? How are you both so happy? Doesn't it weigh on you that the world might be ending? Can I tell him our secret? Come here. We're very, very stupid.
Just give us one alongside Ederson and Baleba or Ederson and Fernandes. What could actually happen is that we don't get any of the top 3 and we end up with Baleba and Ederson. A very, very scary thought. What do you think? Because United have to rebuild most of the team, I say, but midfield is needed the most right now. Let me know in the comments and check out the other videos I created. Very sorry for repeating the word risk a lot too. Like and subscribe for more football content.